Before you start this hypnotic journey into sleep, just make sure that the room you are sleeping in will be dark enough, cool and quiet. Lay down or settle back and find a comfortable position for your body. If you need to adjust the pillows, cushions or covers, do that now. Take as long as you need so that you know your best place to begin to feel physically settled and at ease. Sometimes sleep seems elusive, and perhaps you've experienced some difficulties either getting to sleep or staying asleep or even waking up too early. But the good news is that although many people experience insomnia at some point in their lives, the majority of these gently drift back into restful, comfortable sleep once more. And often they couldn't even tell you how things changed or when the changes happened. Sometimes it's almost as if we forget to notice, and then nature takes over and does what she does best, naturally and easily. There may be periods in our lives when we wrap ourselves in overthinking, and the more we think about a problem or a situation, the tighter it coils around us, cutting us off from the peace and from the inner spirit of calm inside. But right now, I want you to appreciate just being where you are, without trying to solve anything or change anything. Just let everything sit and settle, and know that there is nothing that you need to be doing, and that just for the moment everything can come to rest just as it is. Let the wrappings loosen and let go. Every problem has a solution, and often the simplest of solutions are found when we have drifted into sleep and awake to a new day. Some say that there is a perfect order in the world, so that even if we are going through challenges, things that upset us, there is always something just beyond the horizon, a glimmer of hope, of peace, or comfort. There is always a new dawn, and you can be mindful that wherever you direct your attention, your body will respond. So just spend these moments directing peace and calm into the areas of the body now, as I continue to talk, and your mind absorbs these words at a deeper level. And I also want to remind you that at this time there is no need for you to put any pressure on yourself. You can just witness observing different thoughts and sensations as you listen to the words and become more and more absorbed in the particles of sound that flow through your mind. Your perceptions can change as I invite you to settle quietly now or in a moment. And I would like to suggest to you that just for a moment you suspend any negative thoughts about not being able to sleep. Instead, I would like you to use the power of your imagination to pretend that you are a very good sleeper. A very good sleeper indeed. Maybe you remember times as a child when it was late at night and perhaps the moon hung low and heavy in the sky and the stars twinkled out there in the darkness, and maybe you had to pretend to be sound asleep even though you'd been so busy trying to stay awake for as long as you could, because that seemed like so much fun, and bedtime showed up at the most inconvenient of times. And if you could drift out of your body and watch that version of yourself lying there, fast asleep, and pretending to be fast asleep, I wonder what you would notice first. There would be physical signs, would there not? Like slow and steady breathing, and the way the chest moves gently up and down with the breath, just expanding and releasing, a continual motion of comfort as the out-breath blends into the in-breath, so that sometimes it's difficult to know where one breath ends and another begins. And when we are pretending to be asleep, we focus very deeply on that breath, because we all know that sleepers breathe in a special kind of way, full and deep, smooth and relaxed. That's it. And each breath is measured carefully so that it is regular and even, so similar to the previous breath and the following breath too, because breathing leads you into peace, into a space inside that feels so much calmer than before. That breath is the foundation to which you can always flow back to. And the eyes too will be very softly closed, like when the petals of a flower draw in as night falls, tucking up ever so lightly until the sunlight warms the petals once more and they blush with wonder at a new day. And there was a moment, even though you may not have consciously been aware of it, a moment when your ears stopped listening to the outside noises and started to listen to those inner sounds instead, slowly detaching from the world out there, because there was something more interesting going on inside. When the ears listen inside instead of outside, they eavesdrop on our internal dialogue, and thoughts are like words drifting through our minds. When our thoughts change, the words we say to ourselves change too. And because the mind sometimes stays busy thinking about the past or the future, it's a good thing to move in a different direction and think of new things, pleasant ideas, and fragments of thoughts like symbols or tokens, and always returning to that breath as a point of light in the center of your attention and awareness. When people say they fall asleep, but do they actually fall, or is it more like a soft descent, a gradual spiraling downwards, drifting down and down? And you know, when a person finds it difficult to get to sleep, it's almost as if they've forgotten how to do that. They have become lost somehow. But whenever a person is lost, they often find their way by looking at a map or a guidebook. They get their bearings. They find out where they are. Because the starting point is always the best place to begin. And then they become familiar with the general direction they want to go in, starting to observe the landmarks and signposts as they continue their journey. And I would like to invite you to start this journey to sleep with me now. And to reach your destination, you will need to follow a pathway, maybe a magical road that starts off quite solid and stable, where everything is just as expected and probably quite ordinary. There may be lamp posts and paving stones, perhaps a curb and little garden fences that keep you moving in the right direction. But as you continue to walk down this magical, sleepy road, it begins to feel more and more unique in so many interesting ways. perhaps it becomes a little blurred around the edges, like a very old photograph. And there may be a wispiness that flows around you, like a mist, but not a mist. And you can imagine what your footsteps might sound like when you listen with those inner ears, and how the colours change as you observe them with your inner eyes. And the thing is, you know that when you reach your beautiful destination, it will be so easy to feel rested and restored. But as with any journey, we can feel a little impatient to get there, a little frustrated, just like children do when they are passengers in a car about to embark on an amazing holiday. How many times they wonder if they've arrived yet, only to find they're only part way there. And just like way back then, we need to take a little bit of time first, one step at a time, one foot in front of the other foot, as the other foot is always one step behind, trying to catch up, trying to overtake. Just slow and steady. That's it. And you know, as you continue to drift down along that magical, slumbering road, you may notice certain landmarks along the way that let you know that you are moving in the right direction. You've prepared well. You're wearing comfortable clothing and shoes, and you can be interested to discover so many things as you curiously notice how change becomes a companion that walks beside you. Everything changes, and you know you can't think of everything at once, so you just observe one thing at a time. If other thoughts bubble up from the subconscious mind, you get to decide if it's a good and positive thought worth holding on to for a moment, or whether it's a thought that you can let go of and see it drifting away, way over there. Because thoughts are so ephemeral, they glisten in the light, and it's almost as if thoughts have an invisible quality, maybe as if they aren't really there at all. They can just dissolve away, blend in with the background, because they change like a chameleon. You've never really seen a thought, have you? This means they can be absorbed into the space from which they came. And in your pocket, you have a handful of colourful ribbons, and maybe one or two of those ribbons are peeking out of that pocket, and they can stream in the breeze as you continue to walk, reminding you of looseness and freedom and how good it feels to just let go now. You can feel safe and calm. And as you walk forward, your mind can start to count backwards, counting backwards from 100, 99, 98. Just slow and steady. 97. Feeling supported, and maybe noticing the area at the crown of your head starting to relax a little. Muscles can relax. Soft tissue can relax. Fibers can relax. And even the small bones around the skull can relax. And inside that cavity, the mind can gently continue to soften as you release old issues, and a whisper of peace starts to penetrate your mind. That's it. Allow the mind to soften as you prepare to release and let go. 96. 95. Another step along the pathway that takes you deeper into comfort. Sinking deeper, more and more relaxed. Calmness spreading through you with each number you count. 94. 93. 'Everything you needed to do is completed. Whatever has been left undone can be dealt with on a new day, in a new way. And because the day is drawn to a close, you can sigh a deep sigh of satisfaction. You're exactly where you need to be, walking along that slumbering pathway. Muscles of the face becoming warm and heavy. 92. 91. And I'm curious about what else you will notice on that pathway. At some stage, the numbers begin to fade away. 90, 89, 76, deeper and deeper relaxed. The shoulders can sink a little deeper down too, as that comfort begins to trickle down through the rest of the body. As the numbers fade away, the sensations in that body fade away too, as it relaxes more and more, and a comfortable ease settles over you, like a covering of feathers, light and soft, as if you were resting and drifting within a cocoon of peace and comfort. It's so good, so pleasant to drift off in this special way, because we can all be elusive when we need to be, because our bodies are made up of trillions and trillions of atoms that are all moving about very, very quickly, even when we are sound asleep. The quantum physicists say that rather than being solid, our bodies flicker in and out of existence, blinking like a very fast light, on and off, on and off. And that's a most curious thought, isn't it? And I wonder where we go to when our atoms are blinking in this very special way. And maybe you are interested too. And continuing to count backwards, I wonder what number was next. And if you've lost count, you can just make up the next number or start again. It really doesn't matter. And perhaps you might be wondering where the mind had disappeared to, how it managed to forget something as easy as a number counting backwards. And maybe if it did that so easily, it can forget other things too. It can forget that it once knew how to stay awake at unsuitable times. And it can remember how there have been times in the past when you felt so tired but tried so hard to stay awake. Like when you had to keep your eyes open and look interested during a very boring talk, but each word spoken seemed like an eternity of nonsense, and each sentence droned on into an infinity of boredom. Perhaps the speaker gestured with their hands or had other mannerisms that caught your attention and slowly eased you into that daydreaming state. And maybe during a time like that you found yourself on that magical road into the realm of sleep and wondered how you got there, flickering on and off, tension drifting, becoming aware of the things inside instead of outside, aware that the breath exists externally and internally. It's all around us, and it's inside us too. The oxygen from the breath, nurturing every cell of the body, helping us to develop that sense of restful tranquility. How easy it was to slip deeper and deeper into sleep, even while the other part of the mind told us to stay awake. One way the mind can begin to drift is when it becomes engaged in ponderings that are just fragments of thoughts and wanderings of the mind. Ponderings and wanderings. And so I would like to invite you to further expand the creative part of your mind as you continue your journey into sleep. And with the creative part of the mind, perhaps you can imagine where the pathway to sleep leads you to. Maybe an entrance that allows you to drift directly down into the subconscious mind, a place where you can find all the resources that you need to live your life in the very best way for you. And you can be curious about which resources you will find first, curious about your own inner strengths and that ability that you do have to keep going even when times are tough. Because you've been through so much and you've survived everything. You know how to put all the pieces back together again, don't you? You know, curiosity takes you deeper down into comfort. You can become curious about so many things as you release the day and sink deeper down. And there's a balance that you can feel, an easy, settled comfort that is beyond all thoughts, beyond the mind's wanderings, slipping deeper and deeper into relaxation, where all parts of the body feel so heavy and comfortable. And you get to choose what you would like to release next. And because you have slept so many times before, you really do know what to expect next, don't you? How the subconscious part of the mind connects with the conscious mind, and we can become absorbed deeply in that hypnagogic stage, where we might see flashes of sensory data before all thoughts dissolve into nothingness, into the space inside us. Because the space inside is infinite, just like the space surrounding the universe. And then all is quiet and still, and we realize that we reached our destination, but we forgot to notice those last signposts. And you realize that sleep can be a few blinks away, or can seem to take the circuitous route round and around. But sooner or later, we all get there in the end.